What is up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast late night show here. Had to get a little workout in beforehand and some other stuff, but great to be here. We got the Cardinals and the Titans today. Happy new league year. Not technically yet till Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, but you know, free agency, legal tampering period. We have a litany of moves today, including these two teams. The Cardinals, they got quite a few players in free agency, not quite as many as the Titans, but the Cardinals signing 49ers wide receiver Kendrick Bourne, Steelers guard Isaac Seumalo, Falcons running back Tyler Algier, which I love him, pairing him with Trey Benson. Expect James Conner to be gone as a cap casualty potentially soon. Gardner Minshew, the quarterback, coming over from Kansas City to back up and or fight against Jacoby Brissett currently. And then defensively, they got Lions defensive tackle Roy Lopez as well. The Titans, like I said, they were very, very busy. New head coach Robert Saleh getting stuff done. They signed Wan'Dale Robinson, the wide receiver from the Giants. Bengals guard Cordell Volson. Giants center Austin Schlottman. Giants tight end Daniel Bellinger. Bills quarterback Mitch Trubisky. And then defensively, they had already traded for Jets defensive end Jermaine Johnson. They got Broncos defensive tackle John Franklin Myers. Chiefs corner Joshua Williams. Giants corner Cordell Flott. Saints nickel Alante Taylor as part of their haul today. Bevy of moves there for Tennessee. So it's going to alter a ton of the draft needs for me. But let's get this thing started here and with the Cardinals and the Titans. So we're starting off Raiders, obviously, Fernando Mendoza. The Jets, they go with Ruben Bain. Wow, interesting. We are on the clock with the Cardinals. So, interestingly, we do not have any trade offers. But what did I have for the Cardinals? So they released Kyler Murray. So quarterback is number one need. Obviously, there's not a quarterback available at 3. Offensive tackle is my next one, okay? They have Harris Johnson, but Jonah Williams and Kelvin Beachum are both free agents on the right side there. I think they need to get a tackle of the future to protect whoever is going to play quarterback going forward. I have wide receiver as my third need. They filled that a little bit with Kendrick Bourne. I still think they could get another upgrade there through the draft to have a solid foursome at the top with MHJ, Kendrick Bourne, Michael Wilson, especially with Zay Jones, Greg Dortch, Simi Fehoko, all free agents. And then the only need I had defensively was safety. They lost Jalen Thompson to the Dallas Cowboys today. Dadrian Taylor Demerson slides into that starting spot opposite of Budda Baker. They do have backups, 2025 7th rounder Keaton Crawford and Joey Blunt as well. But I still think they could add a safety there potentially to fill that room out, give some competition as well. And if they want to go in 3 safety looks. For new head coach Michael Floors' defense, they can. Punter was also an issue, but they did re-sign Blake Gillikin, so that is off the board there. So I really didn't think the Cardinals needed a ton. They were one of the fewest draft needs that I had. They didn't have a lot of starter free agents on the board, but obviously we're going to fill some needs here and solidify more positions that we need. So, like I said, I just think with quarterback not being available, I think tackle would be the way to go here. Now, Pro Football Sports Network, for Pro Football, yeah, Sports Network, they do not have. They have the number one tackle is Caleb Lomu at number 10. I don't hate that. I also don't hate Arvell Reese, right? I mean, you got Zaven Collins, Josh Sweat, BJ Ojolari, Baron Browning, Jordan Birch. But Arvell Reese can play everywhere. He can play linebacker. He can play edge, whatever you need. David Bailey is there. Carnell Tate, get another Ohio State wide receiver. Not a terrible thing to do either. Sonny Styles is a great prospect. Caleb Downs. Now, Caleb Downs would be interesting here, but I just think tackle is the biggest need. So I'm going to go with Francis Mauigoa here. That is going to be my pick. Lomu, excellent tackle as well. But I'm going to go with Mauigoa here. All right, so the Tennessee Titans. This is the interesting one. Rams want to come up way up from 13, offering a second, a third, and a second next year. Sorry, we are not interested in moving off of this pick, not down 9 spots anyways. But the Tennessee Titans, they had a lot to fill, and they filled a lot, right? And this sets up well, I think, with what they did, okay? They have Femi Oladejo, they set draft in the second round last year. Jermaine Johnson, they traded for. Jahad Ward is still available in free agency. Other than that, though, they do not have a ton of edge. 24 7th round pick, Jalen Harrell, Ali Gay, Truman Jones, the other guys on the roster. Futures guys wise, they have Nate Lynn, David Agoa as well at defensive end, but not a lot, right? So I think that would be the way we go here. Tackle is still an issue for me. Dan Moore Jr. he ain't it. Need to protect Cam Ward, so I would not hate the tackle option as well with Lomu still on the board. Interior offensive line's my next one. They kind of filled that with Schlottman, but they still have Corey Levine at center, Blake Hans, Kevin Zeitler. Those 3 are all free agents still. They did get Cordell Volson, so he can probably slot into that right guard spot opposite of Peter Skoronski. Interior line still an issue in my mind. Corner is not as big of an issue with signing Joshua Williams and Cordell Flott, Alante Taylor. Those 3 are going to be massive boosts to L'Jarius Sneed, who needs to play better after getting traded to Tennessee last year. Wide receiver, I mean, you need to get, and they did. They got Wan'Dale Robinson, but they need a guy, number 1, and they need depth as well. So wide receiver is an issue. Interior defensive line. Yeah, they got John Franklin Myers. They still need depth, though. Re-signing Sebastian Joseph Day, I think, would go a long way for me. Kicker and punter, Johnny Hecker, Joey Sly, both free agents currently. So that's there. All that being said, I think you just go best player available, and that is Arvell Reese. I mean, the fact that he's falling to 4, you need edge. Linebacker isn't as big of a need. Said Greg, Cody Barton are excellent. James Williams, 24 7th rounder. Dorian Mousey behind him as well. So I would definitely run this thing up to the phone here, board, whatever. Arvell Reese the pick for Tennessee at 4. The Giants go with Carnell Tate. Browns going Caleb Downs. David Bailey to the Commanders. Sonny Styles for the Saints. Chiefs, they're going to go Mansour Delane. Jermod McCoy for the Bengals. Kenyon Sadiq for the Dolphins. Oh, Rams coming up 1 spot, 13 and 93 for Caleb Lomu. Monroe Freeling to the Cowboys. Keldrick Falk to the Raiders. Jeremiah Love to the Bucks. That makes no sense right now. Mekhi Lemon to the Jets. Jordan Tyson to the Lions. You got Dylan Tieneman going to the Vikings. Harrison Smith replacement. Peter Woods to the Panthers. Oliva Vega Ione, Patriots coming up 31-63, 131. Spencer Fano to the Steelers. Dolphins coming up for Avion Terrell, 43-75 in a second next year. Caden Proctor, the 49ers, come up 27 in a second next year. Casey Concepcion to the Browns. Akeem Messidor to the Bears. Omar Cooper Jr. to the Bills. CJ Allen for the Eagles. Love that. Keep that Georgia pipeline going. Blake Miller to the Texans. Oh, Jets coming up for Ty Simpson. Caden McDonald to the Broncos, 33 and second next year for the Chiefs. Brandon Cisse to the Cowboys. TJ Parker to the Seahawks. Manuel McNeil Warren to the Chiefs. Jags want to come up 22 spots, give up a second next year for a seventh next year. Packers similar, and they want to come up 18 spots for a second next year and a seventh from us. I don't like that. So we're going to stick and pick here. Got a lot of quality options. So we got the tackle. Unfortunately, Ty Simpson went. So wide receiver is my next one here. We have Caleb Banks on the board, which there's not a lot of depth. Calais Campbell, I don't know if he's going to play again this year. We'll see. PJ Mustipher's an exclusive rights free agent, so he'll be back. Dante Stills, LJ Collier inside. You got Darius Robinson, Walter Nolan, of course, starting. That's good. The back end, you got Colton Hood available, right? Will Johnson, Denzel Burke, Sean Murphy Bunting, Sterling Thomas. Yeah, I mean, Hood would be a solid addition. Lee Hunter up front, Maxi Inachor. The interior offensive line is pretty good. D'Angelo Pons, he's going to be your nickel, but they have Garrett Williams, who's one of the better ones. Chris Bell, Jacob Rodriguez. I don't hate the Jacob Rodriguez selection. That'd be intriguing. We only have one wide receiver. Oh, Denzel Boston. That's the guy. Yeah. I mean, that would be my pick all day, I think, for the Arizona Cardinals. While Chris Bell does have size as well, Denzel Boston's a touchdown machine. I think that he would instantly, I mean, you look at some of these trees, you got Harrison, Wilson. Bourne's going to be more the slot guy. But I like Boston. I think that's an excellent selection here for Arizona. They could go a bunch of different areas. I'm not really don't really like a lot of the top of the board here, so let's go with Denzel Boston. Titans on the clock here. Panthers want to come up 16 spots, give up a second round next year. Jags still trying to come up from 56, 21 spots. Give up a third and a second next year for 144, a fifth. I think we're okay. So we got Arvell Reese in tow here. And the top of the board sets up well for my liking. I'm going to go with Maxi Inachor here. I think that's a very solid selection. I think with Dan Moore probably gone after this year, Oli Udoh is a free agent currently. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, I've never really heard of. So I like Maxi Inachor. He balled out at the Senior Bowl. Can play all five positions. Give me Maxi Inachor. Sorry about the hiccups, people. Just ran. Chris Bell to the Raiders. Chris Johnson to the Giants. Colton Hood to the Texans. Chase Basanta, Steelers coming up 53 and 76 to the Browns. Zion Young to the Chiefs. Genesis Smith to the Bengals. D'Angelo Pons to the Saints. Jacob Rodriguez, Bucks coming up for their linebacker, 46 and 116. Caleb Banks to the Jets. Christian Miller to the Ravens. Manuel Pregnon to the Chargers. Malachi Lawrence to the Colts. Keith Abney to the Falcons. Traden Stukes to the Vikings. H.A. Halsey to the Lions. Antonio Williams to the Panthers. And I think this is where the Titans can get aggressive. Traded away Tavondre Sweat. You got Jeffrey Simmons, John Franklin Myers. Why not add another crazy good player here? And it's a ridiculous value. If we can come up from 66 to 52 and get Lee Hunter, I think that would be insanity. So let's come up and let's give him a third round pick next year to move up 14 spots in the second round. Got it done. So yeah, I like Lee Hunter. I think he's a inside pusher, pass rush upside's definitely there. Going to learn from two of the best, John Franklin Myers, Jeffrey Simmons. So gives you a third rotational guy and a future there. Brown's going with Parker Brailsford. Catchiest out of the Eagles. Jeremy Bernard for the Patriots. They come up 95 in a second next year. Chris Brazzell to the Jags. Keontae Scott to the Bears. Kamari Ramsey to the 49ers. Skylar Bell to the Texans. Demetrius Crownover to the Bears. Ted Hurst to the Rams. Anthony Hill Jr. to the Broncos. Keelan Rutledge to the Cowboys. Drew Shelton to the Seahawks. And our final pick with the Cardinals. Packers, one spot. Hell yeah. I'll take a fourth next year. Why not? Mike Washington Jr., good for you. Seahawks, we do not want to move back 30 spots. Packers, we do not want to move back 18 spots. So we are picking now after moving back and picking up a fourth rounder next year from Green Bay. Thank you. We got Francis Malgoa, Denzel Boston in tow. We don't have any safety. We have Lewis Moore on the board here. We don't have any quarterbacks really that I'd be okay with taking right now. Safety's really my only other need. So we can kind of play here with best player available-ish. And I do like this secondary. I don't have a running back need with the addition of Tyler Algier. Could go center. Sam Hecht had a pretty good Senior Bowl. We could go edge. To keep that rolling. Jennings Dunker's there. Grayson Halton, Josiah Trotter. Yeah, I'm stuck here. I really don't know where to go. I think that the Cardinals can go in any direction here. I mean, my first gut feeling was just go Julian Neal. He's a big corner. Can give you some depth and possibly play, right? I think that's just sort of the best player available. Not really a need, but I'm going to go with Julian Neal. Grayson Halton to the Raiders. Eagles going Oscar Delp. Georgia to the Philly. Love that. Jennings Dunker to the Texans. R. Mason Thomas to the Browns. That's a Browns pick. Josiah Trotter to the Commanders. Bengals going Elijah Surratt. Jacoby Lane to the Saints. Max Clare to the Chiefs. Chargers going Justin Jolie. Davis Nigbinosin to the Browns. Sam Hecht to the Bucks. Colts going Darrell Jackson Jr. Jake Golday to the Falcons. Eli Stowers to the Ravens. Well, that's a good pick. Connor Liu to the Jacks. Brian Parker to the Vikings. Will Lee to the Panthers. Malik Muhammad to the Packers. Steelers going Gabe Jacas. Chargers going to go Lewis Moore. Zachariah Branch to the Dolphins. Hezekiah Massis to the Jags. Jonah Coleman to the Bears. Isaiah World, the Lions coming up 118, 128. Katron Allen to the Bills. LT Overton to the 49ers. Deontay Lawson to the Cowboys. Dang, I wish I needed a running back. Jadarian Price should be off the board. Cage Casey to the Broncos. Dominique Orange for the Chargers. Jadarian Price to the Seahawks. That's a home run. Derek Moore to the Vikings. Bryce Lance to the Eagles. Love that. Steelers. Michael Trigg for the Broncos. 108, 170. Brendan Thompson to the Jags to end it. So here's what we got. Arvell Reese at number 4. We got Maxey and Odshore in the second round. Lee Hunter, we traded up from 66. Gave up a third rounder in 27 to get him. But I love those 3 selections for the Tennessee Titans, adding to their big free agency day. Cardinals was a little bit more conservative. Francis Mauigoa at 3. Denzel Boston at 34. Julian Neal, we traded back 1 spot, picked up a fourth rounder from the Packers. I think that's a very solid draft as well. I do lean the Titans. I just think these 3 players I love versus the Cardinals. I do really like Mauigoa. Denzel Boston at 34 was an okay pick. Julian Neal was I had no clue. The Cardinals are one of those teams every year that you're like, they were bad, but I don't hate their roster. So it's weird. But I think Titans won this one. Pretty solid draft for both teams, though. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram and X, FAA underscore bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com's website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at Football Addicts Pod. And we will see y'all back on Thursday.